Hi, everyone. Welcome to the SC Win podcast. I'm Sarah Blake.
I'm Courtney Boomer.
And we are so happy to have you guys back with us today. And we have delivered. We have a special guest with us, Diane Broom, who is the owner of Bright Oak Dental in Newberry, South Carolina. Diane, we're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll introduce myself.
Please do.
I'm Dr. Broom. I think that's a little formal, so I prefer Diane. But I own a practice in Newberry, South Carolina, a little tiny town that I love. I've kind of lived all over the state, which we'll get into education and everything, but I've kind of been a little bit of everywhere. I've been in school a long time. I'm a professional student, and I'm finally out in the world getting to practice, and I love it. And yeah, that's pretty much. I'm married. I have 3 little boys, so I'm only girl in my household, which I have a girl dog, so that's good. Me and her.
Yes.
I have a girl dog, but I love it. It's crazy. Life is super hectic, but super fun. So I'm loving it. Yeah. So short about me.
I am very curious, and I know we've talked a little bit about this before, but I know whoever's watching wants to hear your story. How in the world did you find yourself in the world of dentistry? Did you grow up knowing you wanted to be a dentist, and was it easy to get there?
So yeah, I'm probably like I was the strangest 3rd grader on earth, because in 3rd grade, I had decided I wanted to be a dentist. And I started like my braces at that time. I know everyone starts braces a little different ages, but my mouth was super messed up. I was just, my dad would pick on me all the time and talk about my teeth. So started the braces journey, and my orthodontist that I went to was the most dapper man you've ever seen. He wore like a 3-piece suit. His toupee was like perfectly combed, and all the women in his office were like beautiful. They had beautiful skin, beautiful teeth, of course, like beautiful hair, and they were so happy. And I was like, you hear your parents come home from work and they're miserable. These girls did not look miserable at work. They were like eating lunch, and they would raffle off bicycles if you wore your t-shirt. It was just such a cute place. He drove nice cars, and he had a nice office, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a dentist. This is it for me. I want a 3-piece suit. I want a toupee, with the whole thing. So I absolutely loved it then. Did the whole braces thing, and just my whole life I kept saying, yep, I want to be a dentist. I want to be a dentist. I want to be a dentist. And then my dad is an engineer, so he very much was like, get into medicine or get into the healthcare realm, because there's money to be made. And so then as I got older, I was like, wait, is this my dream or my dad's dream? Like, I could only hear my dad kind of like my dad's voice constantly saying, be a dentist or be a doctor, be a doctor, be a doctor. I was like, whoa. I don't even know if it's what I want anymore. So when I got to, anyways, long roundabout way, but when I got to Clemson, I started wondering, okay, maybe I don't want to be a dentist. Maybe I'll get my master's degree in engineering and just do engineering and do device design and that kind of stuff. And so I started shadowing a female dentist who is a rock star. She's so freaking cool. And I was like, okay, I want to be her. So never mind. It is my dream. So I applied and I went. But yeah, it all started in 3rd grade. I saw the guy and his practice and his staff, and I loved it. I love the atmosphere. They seemed happy. They seemed happy to work. And I also think he took a lot of time off. So maybe that's why they were so happy. He didn't work 5 days a week. But no, I loved it.
What was your journey? You mentioned you are a professional student.
Yeah.
So how did you go from student who is shadowing, different professionals in that industry to then owning Bright Oak Dental now?
Yeah. So I went through high school, and after high school, or the last 2 years of high school, I decided I want to go to a military academy. West Point, most people have heard of West Point. But anyways, it takes a long time to apply. You have to be nominated by a senator or whatever. So I did all that, and I got in. I was so excited. I went up there, the ripe age of 17 years old, and started basic training. And I loved it. The people there, amazing. Literally the best people probably I've ever met. And I went through my whole plebe year. got my education, of course. So it's also a 4-year degree.
Yep.
So started my education. Most people, you're in like an engineering type field. Not always, but that's typically what the military wants, which I love engineering. So I was good with that. And then I started like investigating, how am I going to get to dental school? I'm at the school I want to be at, which is West Point, but how am I going to get to dental school? And I realized that they don't send people, or they didn't. This might have changed, but they didn't send people directly from West Point to dental school. You could go to med school, but you could not go to dental. So the path to get to dental school was you would graduate, do your years of service, and then they would send you to dental school.
Wow.
So, which is not, that's a great way to do it. It would just push my age kind of back. So after learning that, I made the decision to transfer to Clemson, which was really hard because, like I said, I loved the school. I loved everything about it. Was it hard? Of course it was. Yeah. But the people there were amazing. I hated leaving them. I've met like amazing people, but I transferred to Clemson so then I could graduate and go straight to dental school. So I got my degree in engineering because I was nervous I wouldn't get into dental school. You know, I don't have parents that are dentists. I don't like have anyone whispering my name in people's ears. Yeah. I don't have any of that kind of networking in the dental realm. So I was like, I might not get in. I want a career where I can make some money and that I like it. So got my degree in bioengineering, loved it. Amazing. And that's when I kind of was shadowing and wondering, do I want to do engineering or do I want to do dental? Like, whose voice is it? Whose dream is this? And then after 4 years of, 5 years, because really West Point was a year, and then like 3.5 more at Clemson. I got into dental school, so excited. And then that was another 4 years. So I did 4 years, another 4 years, same as med school. We just we learn everything, but we focus in the head and neck, obviously. So 4 years of dental school. And then after dental school, I did a 1-year residency. And that was at the hospital in Richland, Prisma. It was Palmetto Health Richland, but Prisma now. So did a year residency there, which is great. That's where I learned like a lot of surgeries. I did like head and neck trauma there. I was on call, so kind of just broadened my scope a little bit. And so I don't know how many years, 10 years of after high school of just straight school. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, yeah. So it was a lot. And I went to MUSC in Charleston, and then Clemson and Greenville. So I've been Greenville, Charleston, Columbia. I'm from Florence.
All over the state.
Yeah, so I've been everywhere, and now I'm in Newberry. So I've definitely lived in like almost every corner, and I love it. I love the state of South Carolina. I'm glad I'm here, So love the weather, obviously. Yes. So yeah, it's been great, and I've been in school a very long time. Wow. Yeah. So then after school is when you have to, I guess, work. You're like, oh my gosh, all I've done is taken out debt, made $0. Yep. I've made negative dollars, So I'm like, oh my gosh, I really need like to actually work and not just read books all the time, which I love to do. But so I went to Newberry. Actually, that was my first job at a little office, and the dentist who was owning it at the time wanted me to buy it from him. And I was like 8 months pregnant with my second child. I had my first baby in dental school. I was 8 months pregnant with my second child, and he's like, I want you to purchase this January 1st. My baby was due January 17th. So I said, I can't, like, I am not in the position for all of that to happen at once. Yeah. Like, I want to focus on my child, my birth, my health, child's health, nursing, everything. And he did not like that. So I was like, let me just work with you for 6 months and then I'll buy it. Yeah. Well, I worked there 8 days before, and I was crying every day in the parking lot afterwards. It just did not feel right. Like it just wasn't for me. And my husband was like, if you're crying like this, like you're not really that emotional, like something's telling you this isn't right. So I was like, you know what? I can't do this. So I just backed out, which was really hard because you feel like you need to be work. And so then I went to practice in Columbia for like 2.5 years. I loved it. I was an associate. There was no pressure to buy. Of course, I would have loved the opportunity to buy in, but My boss there, he's like a big brother to me. He was the best mentor. He's the nicest guy. He's super honest. Like, patients love him. He's just cool. He's got music playing. He talks at the patient's level. He's not like this awkward, weird, like a holier than thou dentist. And I just loved him. And so we got along so well. He taught me so much. And so then when I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to own, I've been an associate for 2.5 years. I learned a lot of business from him, a ton. He was great. And he was very open. He would say, like, this is the money and this is how I do it and this is where it goes. And he was just so transparent.
Yeah.
It was so nice. So I was like, okay, I know a little bit. So I started talking to these other dentists who have these ideas for me, and what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? We have these practices. And I'm like, okay. So I show up for the first day. They're like, okay, we have this practice in Newberry. So I was like, great. That's where my husband's from. We already live in Pomeria. And I show up, and it's the same practice I had left 3 years earlier. The exact same practice. I show up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. This is where I know. I was like, this is meant to be. Clearly, if I quit, left for 3 years, come back, like, I'm clearly meant to be here. So it was very much, when they gave me the address, I was like, this is the practice I quit already once. Like, fabulous. So I went, I loved it. I kind of got to do my own thing, started up from the ground up. That dentist had left already.
Oh, wow.
So it was just me. I didn't own it, but I was an associate. The owner practiced in Chapin. So he was kind of off-site. So nobody told me what to do, which I prefer. And I got to do my own thing. So I was an associate about another 2 years, maybe 1.5 years. And then we started talking about partnership. And he's like, do you want to purchase or buy in? And that was my goal. So I was like, absolutely. So we started negotiating back and forth, this percentage for you, this percentage for me, this amount in rent, this amount in lease, this amount, blah, blah, blah. And finally, I was just like, I don't want a partner. Like, I don't like being told what to do. I don't like having to run things by someone else. It's just not really, I like bouncing ideas off people, absolutely, because I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. But at the end of the day, I was like, I won't be happy with a partner. I just won't. So I asked him straight up, can I just buy 100%? Can I buy 100% of everything? And I want the real estate. I want to buy the building. I don't want to pay anyone rent or lease or whatever. And he said, sure. I couldn't believe it.
I was going to say,
because it was surprised. 2 other partners. Yeah. 2 like older males who've been in the game, who own a bunch of practices, very successful businessmen, great mentors. And they were like, yeah, we kind of know you're not going to be happy until you have it all to yourself. And I was like, okay, yeah. Cool. So, if I hadn't asked, then they just said yeah. And so they gave me the price for the whole practice, gave me the price for the real estate, and then I bought it. I went to the bank. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that process. Like, did you have to get, like, what is the process you had to go through to even not only purchase a business from someone else, but also have to purchase the real estate? Was there any hurdles? How long did the process take?
Oh gosh. Yeah. So I feel like some of it I black out, some of the harder parts, you're like, the parts where you're like head in your hands, some of it you black out. But so the first place you have to start is you have to get the practice like valued, or the business, any business. You have to get a value for the business, right? And each business is valued differently. So dentistry is valued, but patients, what you're bringing in, so collections, how much you're collecting, goodwill, like, is this practice in a good standing in the community, that kind of stuff. So you have attorneys value the practice. There are people out there who literally just crunch numbers and run through what the value of a business is. And then you have profit and loss. This is what 1 month looked like. I had already been there 1.5 years. So I was really looking at my own production and collections because it was me. So I had a really good idea. If you're buying a practice that you haven't worked at, you're looking at someone else's production and collections. So if you already know you can produce more, great. But you might say, maybe I'm a little slower than that person that's currently working. You just don't know. So it was already my numbers, so that was nice. Super helpful. So we got it valued, and then the dentist, the partners I was buying it from, they're really, really great guys, like super honest, and they're kind people. So we really could just talk like this about it. It wasn't so much attorneys.
Wow.
But when the first time I tried to buy it, it was attorneys. So you sit there and they give you a price and a whole contract. You give it to your attorney picks it apart and says, I'm not okay with this verbiage, this in 50 pages, 100 pages, picks it all apart, say, do you want to negotiate the price? Then you send it back to their attorney. Then they pick it apart and you go back and forth and you're paying the attorneys hourly.
Yep.
And it is very expensive.
Oh my gosh.
Very expensive. Even, I mean, I have a friend, she bought her practice from her dad, and they still had separate attorneys, which you should. You always should have separate attorneys. Even if it's like a cordial thing, you should always have separate attorneys. So thankfully with my mentor, we didn't have to bounce back and forth like that. I took a little risk by trusting him and just saying, like, I don't think he's trying to, burn me in any way. And so we could negotiate the price just like this. We sat, they always say over bourbon and a cigar, the good old boy way.
Yeah.
I don't like bourbon or cigars. So, margaritas maybe, chips, salsa margaritas. But so we could negotiate that way. And then the bank is also a very hard part of everything. So you have attorneys over here, you're getting the practice valued, you have the seller-buyer relationship. So you're navigating all that. You're still working full-time. And you have your kids at home or pregnant, nursing.
Stop.
You're still waking up all night. Like, yeah, you're doing all this on top. So this is just, when you're trying to buy a business, this is on top of everything else, your normal daily. Your normal daily doesn't stop so you can handle all these documents or whatever. And so then you have to do the bank stuff. I will say banks are very kind to dentists and doctors. They know we've been in school forever. They know we have an outrageous amount of student debt, and they know we're in our 30s and we have nothing. We've just started. We've just stepped out into the world, unless you come from generational wealth. Like, you don't really have money. You don't have equity. You don't have homes and real estate and property and nice cars. Your cars aren't worth anything. So they're typically pretty kind. So the bank then values the practice. The bank then says, how much do they bring in and how much do they spend? Like, how profitable is this practice?
So this is a separate evaluation.
Separate. The bank does its own financial dig, deep financial dig. And this is different kind of than, they still take the valuation that the attorneys did and all that information, but they're simply looking at numbers. How much are you collecting and how much are you spending? Like, how much does it cost to run this business and how much money are you bringing in? And how much debt do you have on the back end? Which I will say, they're pretty kind to dentists and doctors because they know we have a bunch of student loans.
Just part of it.
Yeah, so they don't really take that. But like, if I had a ton of credit card debt, that kind of stuff, they dig into. Massive car payments, that kind of stuff. So they dig into your financials, all your tax returns for like 5 years or something. And real estate, same thing. It's commercial real estate though, because it's a business. So it's not, your loans are much shorter. A business loan is only like 8 years. So if you're buying a business, if you're buying $1 million business, you got 8 years to pay that off. You don't have 30 years. So business loans are totally different. Commercial real estate is also different, much shorter loan time. So it's just a lot of debt, a lot of numbers, but the banks also are trying to protect you. They don't want you to purchase something that's in the negative, right? So I had to show them like my production levels. This is what I could produce at my last practice. This is what I would produce every month, or this is what my numbers would collect every month. So I would have to show them years of my numbers outside of this practice. So they could say, okay, if we take whoever's in there, maybe not practicing, doing as much because he's retirement age or slowing down, we'll take him out and put you in. Is it going to succeed? Right. So then after all that, the bank transfers the money, you sit with attorneys, you sign the papers. But it takes, sometimes you can do it quickly. Like if your finances are there, like at this point in my career where I have more equity built up, I have less debt. Well, I still have a lot of business debt, but I have more safety, right? Yes. It's less of a risk now. Yes. I could probably buy a practice a lot quicker now. Yeah. Still quite a headache, but when you're first starting, it probably takes 3 to 6 months minimum. I would say minimum. And then after we signed the papers, my husband and I went to a little local restaurant. We bought our first bottle of wine because we still couldn't afford it, but we bought a whole bottle for the table. It was 50% off because it was like happy hour. And that's the only way we could afford it. And we toasted to being negative millionaires. So, yeah. Super embarrassing, so but fun. Yeah, so we are so far in the hole, and it's hard for my husband to kind of like grasp that. He does not like debts and looking at that every day, but it's been fun, but that part I don't really want to ever do again, like the whole purchase and transition and all that. And then I renovated the office. The whole thing. Of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have to renovate it.
You gotta put your stamp on it.
Yep. From top to bottom, from the crawl space to the roof. I redid the whole entire thing. And I think the partners knew I was going to do that. That's why they're like, yeah, you can just have it all. Because they were like, I do not want to deal with that. Right. So, yeah, it takes a while. 3 to 6 months. Like if you want it quickly,
just got to be patient.
Yeah. But it is how you make more money.
Well, and talk a little bit about, we talk about this often, how having someone behind you supporting you
100%,
that it feels essential, and that doesn't always have to be a spouse necessarily, right, no. But it's really hard. You can feel so lonely being a business owner, making big moves in your life, focusing on your career. But there are so many people out there that don't have that, or maybe don't realize that they have that.
Right.
Talk about how crucial it was to have that person behind you supporting you, and how did he do it? What were the things that he did to remind you to keep going?
So I think as you transition throughout your career, your professional career, your life, your marriage, whatever it is, you're going to have different support system as you go. So like when I started, I had a female dentist mentor that I wanted to be like her, and she coached me through everything. I feel like pick people who you want to be like, right? Who do you want to be in your business, in your career? Now this is separate from your marriage, of course, but like who do you want to be? Find those people. And you might not have someone who does your exact business, but find someone as similar as you can to your business and pick their brain. Typically people are so sweet, will let you shadow or come watch, or will talk to you on the phone or email you. The age of social media, you can almost Google, people you want to be if you don't have someone local. So that's where I started. Like I said, I've shadowed male dentists too. I love them, but I really wanted to pick a female dentist. How can I see a female in this role? Because I am a female, and that's not changing. Like how can I see a woman doing what I want to do in a male-dominated field? So I found her. I latched onto her. She's fabulous, and she would share with me like her tidbits through dental school, like being a female dental patient, or all this kind of stuff. So that's where I started, and I still to this day adore her. She's fabulous. She owns multiple practices now, so I always tell her I want to be you when I grow up, and she's like, you are me, like you can like cut it out. And I'm like, no, more. So I started there, and then my husband, when I met him, he got me through like the heavy nights, the heavy nights of education when you're up all night studying. I call him an honorary dentist. He would quiz me, and like he knows so much about the oral cavity. It's so funny, but he knows tooth numbers. He knows everything just because he stays up studying with me. I had a baby in dental school, so lots of late night feedings, lots of pumping, lots of getting up, and he was a great support system. If I ever told him like I'm done, I can't do it, he would get up. No questions asked, no nothing, and he supported any decision I've made really. But he is my unemotional sounding board. So I'm like, and he's like this. So whenever I need to make a big decision, I bounce it off of him, and he gives me just the no bones, no craziness, just the easygoing, straightforward. This is what I think. Now, do I listen to him every time? No, no. But he's just a very even keel, just simple man, and he's good with numbers. So like any number stuff, I bounce off him. Now he's not super extroverted, so any type of staff like conflict or confrontation, no, I do not go to him with that, because he's like, you know what, just put me in the grave. Yeah. That's not something he would do. So he is amazing, and he, even to this day, like I've always wanted to be an oral surgeon, but I just kept having kids and it didn't work out. He's like, if you want to go now, go. I'll follow you anywhere. We'd obviously have to move. We'd have to sell our house. Like he's like, go. He has never slowed me down. And so I don't say like if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am. I think I would still be a dentist. I think I would still own a business. It would have been a lot harder without him. It would have been a lot slower. It would have been a lot lonelier. So I think I still would be where I am. It would just been a much tougher road, and I'm way more thankful that he was there with me instead of me trying to do it by myself. I do credit my dad a little bit. Like as a kid, he never told me I couldn't be anything. Ever. Like there was nothing. I could have come to him with the most outward, like I want to be a monster truck driver, and he'd be like, you can, like, so just do it. So he never ever told me I couldn't be something, which I know a lot of, for young females, I think a lot of parents maybe do say that even if they don't realize they're saying it. Like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this, or are you sure you want to, you know, be a ballerina? Like you're a little boy. Like, yeah, I said I want to be a ballerina. Like I'm just gonna be one. So I do credit my dad when I was young. He never ever told me I couldn't be anything. And then that just kind of snowballed. He knew, like, he was like, Diane, you're gonna have to be your own boss. You don't listen very well. And I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. Like, so he always kind of put in my head, like, you can do your own thing. You can be your own boss. You don't need anybody else. Like it can just be you. So that I'm thankful for that. And then as I've aged, like once I started owning a business, I do feel like it's very isolating. Like you do feel very alone, because there's two sides to the coin.
So Diane, with being a woman in business, as you've talked about, you know, you really almost lose who you are. And I think naturally we were created not only in our marriage, right, to kind of shed layers of ourselves, and then as a mother. So I've heard you shed layers of yourself, and then owning a business. Really, we talk about all the time, you grow by being put through the fire. We like to use the word refined. We're refined over and over again.
Totally.
How has this journey changed you as a person from a business perspective? How has that journey refined you and made you better? Has personal growth been a big piece that you felt you evolve?
Sure. To start, I always say, you know, people say, how have you gotten where you've gotten? And I say, like, you have to eat a lot of dirt, right? And at this point, I like the taste of dirt. Right. So that's what I tell people all the time. They look at me like I'm crazy, but I like to eat dirt because I know it's just grinding it out and hustling and working. So you kind of start there. I do feel like that I haven't changed really at my core, just because I think who I am has gotten me to this position, right? Like my siblings always called me bossy, and my parents said I never listened, and you know, all this stuff has all come together to get me here. And I think it's a good thing I didn't listen, or I would have taken these business deals that were complete rubbish. And so it's good that I'm bossy, because now I am the boss of a lot of people. So I like very much kind of like my core and where I am. But what has changed is, you know, I've always said like other people's opinions aren't my problems anymore. You know, I used to very much, you know, if someone didn't like me, oh my gosh, what did I do? Why don't they like me? I want everyone to like me, kind of thing. And I wasn't too focused on that, not as much as some people are, but I just can't make everyone happy. And that's okay. Whether it's patients, whether it's staff, whether it's my team, I can't make everyone happy. And every decision I make isn't going to make everyone happy. So I've really just had to narrow it down to what is best for the business. Okay, I know my staff might not like it. My husband might not even like it if it means me working more hours or whatever it is. What is best for the business? What will grow the business? And as long as, you know, I'm not hurting anyone in the process, of course, and I'm making sound decisions, I mean, it is what it is. You know, my job is to grow this business and treat people well, of course. I am a doctor, so there, you know, I'm not going to put growth above patient care. So, and treating people well and treating people kindly. And if people don't like that, then it is what it is. You know, anybody can come in my door and be treated. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what you're dressed like. I don't care what your trauma is. I don't judge you. And if that makes some people unhappy, it does, you know, but I don't care who comes in my practice as a patient. You're going to be treated just like everyone else. So I've grown in that way where I'm just not, I feel like growing up, you know, I was so judgy, and I'm just not judging anymore. Everyone is welcome. There is room for everyone, you know, at the table. And I do truly feel like that. I just feel like I'm not so just hardened anymore.
It takes so much energy.
Yeah, it
to
does.
Look for things in other people to complain 100%. About and judge.
Even like your staff or your team members or your employees who work for you, like, it's so much easier to let them have autonomy and be their own person and make their own decisions. And of course, you want to hire the perfect people for the job, which I have, but they're fabulous. But it's just, I don't have the time or energy anymore to even care about that stuff. I just don't care. I don't care what your hair looks like. I don't care anything. Just come in, tell me what you need, and I'm going to treat you well in a fun space. And we're going to have fun doing it, and we're going to try to lessen the trauma and lessen how much everyone hates the dentist along the way. But I've just chose to have more fun, you know, chose to have more fun and just not take the little stuff so hard, like so personal. It's just not personal. Business is business. I think going through all the attorneys and wheeling and dealing with older men and like them being like, just do what I say, and me being like, what? No, I don't even listen to my own dad. Like, why would I listen to you? You just realize, like, it's not personal, it's just business.
Yes.
You can still be friends with all of these people. It's just business. You're just working, you know. Everyone's trying to make money. We all respect the hustle. You got to be smart and call it for what it is.
Yeah. And
same with employees. Like, it's business. It's business. I'm sorry I have to tell you that you can't be on your Apple Watch during a surgery. Okay. But it is. It's not personal. You just can't do it. Like,
right.
We're in surgery. You know, I don't care if it's buzzing. Throw it out the window. Okay. So it's not personal. And I think I've just learned to take things way less personally. I've learned to be way less judgy. And I used to think like truth above all, even if it was kind of mean. And I don't think that's right. I think that was just kind of me being mean. Like, you don't have to be hurtfully honest. Right. Now, I do believe you need to be honest, but you don't have to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
And I stopped kind of like, you know, the young, fiery Diane, like, loved confrontation and loved calling people out if they were doing something wrong. And now I'm like, I don't really care. Like, as long as it's not harming anything. And of course, we don't tolerate disrespect in my office, but like, it's okay to not have to be this like beacon of judgment and telling everyone they're doing something wrong. And I'm just like, no, I don't need to do that. I don't need to be so wound so tight all the time, you know? So I feel like I've just kind of just relaxed a little bit. Like, I'm so much more laissez-faire now. I'm still type A, very much so, but I just let people be people. Let people be their own person. I don't have to make anyone who they are. And I feel like I've changed a lot, because when I was younger, you know, I wanted to fix everybody and make everyone type A just like me, and everyone organized and everyone this. And so I think I've just gone through so much confrontation that I just stopped taking things personal, you know?
Well, somewhere out there is a woman listening that is scared. She feels like she's called to do more. And I think all of us have been there at some point. But she's scared to start.
Yeah.
What would you say to that woman?
I would say my favorite phrase, she has a shirt with it on it, is how hard can it be? Boys do it. Okay? That is my motto. I did not come up with it. I wish I did. There's an Instagram or TikTok influencer who came up with that, and she's super funny. But anybody can do it. Like, and I love the men of the world. I really do. But if they can do it, then we can do it better, easier. Okay? So just if you're scared, you have to find people who've done what you want to do or something similar and latch onto them, pick their brain. Then once you get that knowledge, then you can kind of take it forward. But you really you can't fail at something you haven't tried. Now, your business can fail, sure, but you were starting with nothing anyways. So, you know, it's not. Now, if you're taking out your life savings and stuff, that can be very, you know, scary. But I think it's not as scary as people think if you have some support or someone else who's done it. Even if it's an internet buddy or whatever, a pen pal, it doesn't have to be like a physical person in your community. But find someone who's done what you've done, similar, and been successful. Don't find the people who've just only failed at it. Yeah. And just latch onto them, pick their brain, shadow them, whatever it is, and you just got to have time. This is a time investment. It's a financial investment, but it is a time investment. Yep. And us humans are shorter on time than we are just about anything else. So time. Just be willing to grind it out for a long time. Yeah. You know, if you don't have a long time to hustle, then you find something else.
Probably not for you.
Be an employee, which you can still make good money, you know. But if you want to run a business, you got to be willing to grind and hustle, find a mentor support system, and realize literally anyone can do it. It's how hard can it be, you know?
Yeah, and I think all of us got to that place where we needed to hear somebody say that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I think whether it was a spouse or whether it was a friend that had taken that leap of faith, we are all an inspiration to someone who's watching us. Right. And that has been a huge driver for me in knowing that someone out there is watching what I'm doing, what we're doing, and is wondering, wow, maybe I can do this.
Right, totally.
So I know that those words are going to mean a great deal to someone who's watching. Well, if someone wants to become a patient of Bright Oak Dental, how would they get in contact with you?
Please, we are getting our social media going and everything like that. So you can reach out to us online. We have a Facebook page. We're not the best social media people, but we're getting there. We will become better. But you can just call us. Our phone number is 803-276-3371. My front desk is super sweet. So, and if they're not, you tell me. But you can call us. You can email us. Same thing, info@brightoakdental. You can go through our website, which is just brightoakdental.com. Or you can just stop by. We love people walking in. We have a coffee bar, so you can come drink coffee and just hang out. But yeah, super chill. I play loud music. It's super girly pop in there. So super fun. Come hang out. It's not like a typical dental office. I would love it. Yeah, I love it. But just find me. Find me anywhere, online, in person. I'm around all the time. So awesome. Yeah, good question.
Well, thank you so much to Diane for joining us and sharing about you, about your business, and providing some encouragement for other women that are watching.
Sure.
Guys, please do not hesitate to reach out to us if we can connect you with Diane.
Sure.
And thank you so much for joining us for the SC Win podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And let's